What's up guys, not Jason from TLD, and today we're going to be diving back into micro red dots. Today we'll be taking a look at the Trijicon RMRcc. Let's see how this does. Now this is the fourth video in our series. Our current rankings are as follows. In first place with its feature-rich options and sturdy construction is the Ride-On MPRD Gen 2. And, just my luck, Ride-On told me at SHOT Show that they're working on a Gen 3, so hopefully we can see that on the channel soon. Second place with its nice form factor and absolute budget-friendly price is the Primary Arms Classic Series Micro Red Dot. Finally, in third place with its great auto brightness and great form factor is the Crimson Trace Micro Rad. Now, I do want to be clear here and highlight that this is purely subjective. This is my list. It probably isn't your list. Now, as a reminder, there are 5 main areas that we're going to cover. First, we'll look at installation. Next, we'll look at the form factor. Third, we'll take a look at the glass. Fourth is going to be illumination. And I'll show this off in bright and low light scenarios. Our last thing is going to be the all-encompassing additional features. Now, since this is our first foray into Trijicon as a company, let's talk about them as a company for a bit. This was really fun for me, kind of digging into Trijicon history, which goes back 40 years, kind of blew my mind. But I'm just going to highlight on the things that kind of intrigued me. Now, Trijicon as a company started in 1985 by a guy who worked for the Ford Motor Company named Glenn Bindon. Hopefully I'm not butchering that name. Now, I'm not going to mention how old I was in 1985 in case I get some of those old school Trijicon folks upset. That same year, they came out with their bright and tough night sights. Yeah, those sights that are on most of my pistols and all of my duty pistols have been around for 40 years. Over the next 20 years, Trijicon would continue to grow leaps and bounds and continually revolutionize the optic industry. In 2007, Trijicon released their first pistol red dot, the Trijicon Red Dot sight, which later morphed into what we know today as the RMR, or Ruggedized Miniature Reflex Sight. Now, that optic revolution continued for another 13 years until 2020 when we got the RMRcc. And here we are today reviewing this beauty. Alright, first thing to tackle is the installation. Now, this optic uses its own footprint, so in order to review this, I had to have a slide custom milled for this optic footprint, or use this adapter. Seriously, Trijicon? What the hell? You know what? Forget it, we don't have time, we got a review to do. Now, if you decide to buy an adapter plate for your specific firearm, know that they include all the screws and tools you need for your gun. Well, that's nice of them. When installing the RMRcc on whatever pistol you have, make sure you use the included sealing plate to ensure it is waterproof. The RMRcc uses a standard 2032 battery, which is very convenient. Install the battery like so, and it turns on. Sweet. Alright, next let's take a look at the form factor. If you're at all familiar with the Trijicon RMR, you'd be hard to find the differences here. The RMRcc is the same length as the RMR. It's slightly narrower, slightly shorter. But only slightly, like hundredths of an inch difference. The RMRcc has those owl ears look as the original RMR, which is supposed to help with drop protection to keep the impact forces away from the glass. You also have some giant push buttons for the brightness, up or down. Now, no sarcasm, it's pretty cool that Trijicon took convenience to the user over plastering a giant symbol of Trijicon right here. And I'm kind of poking fun at some of the other optic manufacturers in this area that seem to focus more on themselves than the end user. These big buttons make it easy to adjust, even while gloved. You also see these holes on either side, and I couldn't find anything on the Trijicon website about these. I assume that it's to help liquid drain away from the emitter so it doesn't become occluded. The windage and elevation adjustment screws are actually designed so you don't need any special tools. Just use a spent casing to adjust. Now, note that there are no audible clicks here. If you pay attention, you see a line engraved on the dial that lines up with the hash marks around the dial. One tick is 3 ohm away. Now, that just means you have to pay really close attention if you're adjusting this thing. And if you have bad eyesight, well, good luck. Finally, the glass seems more recessed than the other optics we reviewed, and that makes it easier to rack off hard objects without the fear of damaging the glass. Which leads into our next area, and that is the glass. Now, Trijicon notes that this is the same coating as the original RMR, but they don't go over specifics besides light transmission. Now, with the RMR's known durability, I'm guessing this is your typical anti-scratch, anti-fog, those usual suspects. And I know this is subjective, but I think this is the clearest glass out of all the optics we've reviewed to date. Now, if you're really looking for it, you'll see distortion around the edges of the glass, but this is curved glass. What do you expect? All right, next I want to take a look at illumination. Now, unlike all the other ones that we've tested so far, unlike having auto illumination or manual illumination, this guy has both. And there's some other really cool features that are packed into this little guy. There are 8 brightness settings, including 1 super bright mode and 2 night vision modes. When looking through my digital night vision scope, the dot didn't bloom really bad until I got to the 4th or 5th setting, which is nice. Now let's go through how to get to some of these illumination settings that this RMRcc has. With the RMRcc turned off, press and hold the plus and minus button together for 3 seconds. That'll turn the RMRcc on and it'll be an automatic brightness with the buttons locked out. Now, Trijicon recommends this use for EDC carry or for hunting. Hold the plus and minus sign again for 3 seconds to turn it off. Then just press either button to turn the RMRcc on and you're in manual brightness mode. Now, if you get to a manual brightness setting that you like, just press and hold the plus or minus button for 1 second to lock in that brightness setting. And if you do that, that's going to turn off the reset feature as well. What is the reset feature? Well, if you manually select a brightness setting and you don't lock that setting in, after 16.5 hours of no button pushing, the optic will automatically switch over to the auto brightness mode. And that super brightness mode, let's just say you need sunglasses on before using that thing. Not sure why that's even an option, but there you go with the illumination settings for the RMRcc. Alright, finally we get into my favorite category, and that is the all-encompassing additional features. Really, it's just a catch-all where I put stuff into this category that doesn't, I don't know, neatly fit into those other 4. Now, first thing is the testing that this RMRcc has been through, and the promises that Trijicon makes. Now, they say it's drop tested, immersion tested, vibration tested, but the one that's most important to me, solid zero tested. Basically, that means taking this thing off and putting it back on the gun will not affect the zero at all. Honestly, the durability and the ruggedness that the Trijicon name has come to be known for is continuing on with this RMRcc. Now, another thing to discuss is the warranty. Trijicon has a 5-year warranty from the date of manufacture. So pay attention to that, because it's not from the date of purchase or the date that you registered it. It's from the date of manufacture. So you could get this thing a year after it was made, and you're only really going to get a 4-year warranty, not a 5-year warranty. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go into some of my pros and cons. Now, for the first pro, it's got to be the illumination settings. Having the ability to switch between manual and automatic brightness, along with all of the lockout features and that super bright mode and the night vision modes, this thing is jam-packed with just awesome illumination capabilities. And for my second pro, that awesome ruggedness and durability that Trijicon has come to be known for. Having a Trijicon optic means it's been battle tested. You don't have to worry about dropping this thing or scratching it and it not working. This thing is going to take a beating and it's going to keep right on ticking. For my third pro, the giant buttons and the easy turrets. This may seem like a minor convenience, but it is a convenience. Trying to manipulate other optics with gloves is a chore at best and a lesson in frustration at worst. Also, not needing some special tool for zeroing is awesome. Get yourself a piece of brass, you're in business. Alright, now, every pro needs a con to match it. And my first con, the price of this thing. With an MSRP of $700, this thing is easily double the price of other optics we've reviewed to date. Now, to be fair, usually you can find these things on sale in the $400 to $500 range. But still, that Ride-On that's currently sitting at the top of our rankings was purchased on sale for $99. So even comparing sale prices of all these optics we've shown to date, the RMRcc is always going to be at the top of that list. The next con, the footprint. And I think this is the biggest drawback for this optic. You either have to get a dovetail mount and remove your rear sight completely, or you could buy and use an adapter plate that puts the optic so high your irons are useless anyways. Or do what I did and buy a slide with a custom cut for this optic. I mean, Yeah, it's wonderful, but is it worth all the extra money you're going to be paying? And that's up for you to decide. My bottom line, feature-wise, I think this optic is going to outperform most of the other optics that we're going to show off in the series with its illumination settings and its just pure robustness. So, if you're willing to go without irons or you're willing to get a custom cut for your slide, I think this optic is going to do wonders for you. Is it the best concealed carry optic on the market? I don't believe so. Now, if they were to redesign this thing to sit in an RMRcc footprint, gosh, I think that optic would be king of the hill for quite a while. But for now, this will be taking second place in our list of optics. But that's it for me, folks. I hope you liked this video and I hope you liked this series. I want to say thanks to our Patreons and our YouTube members. You guys make it possible for us to get this cool stuff to show off to you, and we truly appreciate it. And thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below, let me know what you think about this optic and what you think is the best concealed carry optic on the market right now. Alright guys, I'm out.